is a story I believe that should be talked about, and it is something that I think a lot of people are kind of scared to talk about because there is a stigma around TV. So, Dayna Marie Fure was a senior at Stanwood High School in Seattle, I believe, Washington, when she was murdered in her father's home on May 24th, 2004. Her murderer was her estranged or kind of ex-boyfriend. She was trying to break up with him, who she, had recently been going back and forth with, and she was trying to finally cut ties. And after he took her life, he also took his own life as well. He took the coward's way out, definitely. This flip's on my lip. So now this case is particularly infuriating, just infuriating due to the fact that the police were very, very, I'm talking extremely negligent. They were so negligent that Snohomish, I believe it's how it's pronounced, Snohomish County is now having to pay out $1 million to Dayna's mother and father. Now this is to settle a civil rights lawsuit in the slaying of their 18-year-old daughter, who was brutally murdered and taken from this world far, far too soon. And there was a lot that could have been done, but for some reason the cops and the detectives just did not follow through with protocol, and it didn't seem like they were taking this man's threats very seriously. They were obviously not trying to protect Dayna by any means, and their negligence is just absolutely unreal, but we'll get into more of that. Really quick, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my subscribers, and I'm so happy that you're here watching this video. I know that this topic is pretty rough, and because domestic violence is far too common and it affects a lot of us or our loved ones. I know personally, I know many people that have gone through it, so I don't take this topic very lightly. If you'd like to hear some more from me on different true crime cases, then just stick around and hit subscribe. You can also hit the bell so that way you can see if I've uploaded a true crime video, because it'll say right there, right after ASMR, so you can see right away easily if it's true crime. I'd like to specifically give a thank you to Recovery Disorder ASMR, who did tell me that this was a friend of hers and recommended this case to me. So she gave me a little rundown and I just had to start researching immediately. So thank you, love. I appreciate it very much. There were only about 3 or 4 different articles online that I could find, so there wasn't a lot out there. I couldn't even find a photo of Dayna herself, which is very frustrating. But she had just turned 18, so I think she was borderline child, borderline adult, so maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not totally sure. Just a little background on Dayna. As I stated, she was a senior high school student at Stanwood High, and she was 18 years young. Dayna, this is an excerpt from her obituary that I found online. Dayna was a devoted daughter, sister, mentor, and friend to everyone, had an infectious smile and a heart of gold. Dayna loved life and lived each day fulfilling commitments and accomplishing goals, including a 4-year letter and attendance winner in cross country, winner of several medals in karate, 3 bronze, 1 silver, and 5 gold. Her time whenever needed, all the while maintaining 3 part-time jobs and a 3.85 GPA. Dayna's goal to attend college studying pre-law and one day her own practice in family law was cut short just after accepting a scholarship to attend Gonzaga University. So she was a very smart girl. In addition, several other community and academic scholarships contributed in fulfilling her dreams. Community, teachers, family, and friends were all involved and were proud of her accomplishments. Dayna is survived by a loving family, extended family, and endless friends. So it says that the graveside service was at Anderson Cemetery on Tuesday, June 1st at 1 p.m., followed by a memorial service at Stanwood High School in the gym at 4. The family also put together some memorial and said that may be made to the charity of your choice or to the Dayna Fure Scholarship Fund for future pre-law students at Northwest Plus Credit Union. Now, Dayna and I, of course, didn't personally know each other, but I wish I could have just given her a hug. She was, the days leading up to her being taken from us, she was petrified of this man. She was so scared. I just wish I could have helped her. And this young woman was absolutely amazing, but she was also very vulnerable. And that man, ultimately, that she was so petrified of, sealed her fate. And he was a 23-year-old man named Minor or Mario Valentine, I believe is how it's pronounced. He goes by Mario, so I'll refer to him as such. And this man would just not give up. Dayna had attempted to break up with him a few months prior to the murder. And this man was just relentless, however, and he would write her letters about how he's gonna, commit suicide. And he would say things like he couldn't live without her and that kind of thing. And she actually volunteered to go help with like sanitizing water or something in Mexico. And before going, she went to this kind of, what would you call it? This orientation for it, and it was around an hour long, and he was with her, Mario. And the whole time he was just glaring and just did not seem happy about her leaving. And at the end of the orientation, he pulled her aside and was just like, "You're not going to Mexico. I do not want you to go to Mexico." So he was just a controlling freak, and I just, so he was already giving off these really controlling vibes. And I don't know if they met through friends, it was noted that they met in a nightclub, and that was noted by Mario's sister, and their family loved her. They absolutely adored her. One thing I did want to note is Mario was actually trying to be a police officer as well. And yeah, he would not pass the psych test, that's for sure. But apparently they met at a nightclub in Seattle when she was like 16. And I know that there were underage like clubs when I was younger that they didn't sell alcohol or whatever, but maybe it was like a 21 plus club where people wore wristbands. I'm not sure, but they had been dating for nearly 2 years by the time that she had broken the relationship off in the spring. And following the breakup, he just harassed her. He just relentless. He was just constantly harassing her and following her around and stalking her. So Seattle Pie, which is like a news outlet, reports that for 2 months, Valentine tracked his ex-girlfriend, Stanwood High Senior Dayna Fure, all over town, to her home, to her grandparents' house, and even to her sister's house in Marysville. So this man stalked her like prey and was absolutely terrifying. And if you've ever been with an abusive, manipulative man, or even woman, seriously, God bless you. It's scary. So, I can't imagine what she was going through when she was trying to get away from him, and he was just relentless. Right up until her death. So, one jarring incident that occurred was on May 13th. Now, she went to a nail salon with her friend. This dude shows up with a gun and says that he's going to kill himself, and shows the girl. And this incident was reported to a Stanwood police detective, who did not take a report, didn't even call dispatch to have a cop go out and say that there's an armed man kind of running around. You better get on that. No, that never happened. So just out of just pure negligence. This is according to court records. The officers did not arrest Valentine under the state's mandatory arrest law for domestic violence assailants, and did not provide Fure with a packet of, information about domestic violent victims, and that is all required by law, by the way. The key expert witness in the lawsuit, the civil suit with the parents versus the county, former Seattle Police Chief Norm Stamper said the failure of the Stanwood police detective to take a report and send a patrol car to find Valentine on the day he accosted Fure at the nail salon was evidence of it's infuriating. So the detective, Stanley Breda, it's spelled Breda, he did not file a report of the incident until the day after Fure's death. Now that same day, same nail salon day, Mario shows up at her workplace. Now I saw in one online report that it was Merrill Gardens Nursery, which I think nursery like Green Acres Nursery where they have plants and stuff. But a couple of other articles noted that it was like a senior home. So anyways, the place is called Merrill Gardens. So he shows up to her workplace and starts going crazy again like he did at the nail salon, saying he's going to kill himself, and took off once the boss there called 911. So when this occurred, police actually showed up, but they were no help. And the responding police sergeant tried to persuade Fure against her will to talk to Mario on the phone. Just talk to him, just calm him down, just talk to him. Now, this is an act considered unwise and even dangerous by domestic violence counselors, crime victim advocates, and most law enforcement agencies. So, I don't understand why he would have had her do that. But after this happened, he didn't try to shield her from the predator. He tried to make them just talk it out, And the sergeant returned to the station to fill out an officer's safety bulletin, and this was about a potentially armed suspect who might be a danger to police, but made no effort to find him or to ensure Fure's safety. And when I say Fure, that's Dayna's last name. So Mario returned to Merrill Gardens later that evening, again, forced his way into her vehicle, and held her like at gunpoint. He had a gun again. I don't know if he had it at her or if he had it at himself, threatening, if you don't get back with me, I'm gonna kill myself. That kind of thing. So there were witnesses, and they said that he was clearly angry at Fure, Dayna. So police returned, and after a brief standoff, they convinced Mario to surrender, which he did. One officer, Gary Cheney, in a move termed by Stamper as contrary to the most fundamental law enforcement procedures in domestic violence, promised Mario a face-to-face meeting with her, according to court pleadings and depositions. Once they were face-to-face, the officer stepped back, and Valentine reportedly told her, "I'm gonna get you." She then just crumpled and was just in fear and started sobbing, according to the court file. So Mario was then taken to a mental hospital to get evaluated, and when doing so, the cops found a gun in his car, and they confiscated it. But by the time that he got released the next day, he was never charged with the crime, and Janie did not report the threat until after she was murdered again. So these cops are filing reports of what happened until after. It's honestly too late. It's heartbreaking. So the day after that, she had gone and gotten a protective order, and it didn't even matter by that time. Family and friends say that Mario was spotted several times, all in violation of that order, but those incidents were not all reported to the police. I think she was too scared. I think she was too petrified to even report it. And there was one report from her father that she had, said there's an incident going on, and no one followed up on it. No cops followed up on it. So with all of this negligence, he ended up making his way into her home and killed her in her own room. And this happened on Monday, and for some reason he was able to access another gun. His gun had gotten confiscated, but again, he got one, and her father found them in her room. And this case is pretty cut and dry, but it is something that I did want to talk about, because no matter how scared you are, sometimes people don't take you seriously, and that is a big, big downfall in society. I feel like with domestic violence and abuse, you have to just believe the so-called victim and then kind of do it backwards, it's not innocent until proven guilty. You should just go straight to CCTV footage or something, you know. So this whole case just blew my mind. Absolutely broke my heart. The fact that the county is having to pay $1 million out to her parents is phenomenal, in my opinion, my humble opinion. So I just pray for her family and her friends and loved ones, everybody who knew her. I just pray that you have healing, and by no means do I want to offend any of her loved ones if they do come across this video in time in some way. So if you do like this kind of content, then go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.